the Mongol conquest of the Song dynasty under Kublai Khan r. 1260–294, was the final step for the Mongols to rule the whole of China under the Yuan dynasty. It is also considered the Mongol Empire's last great military achievement. 2. Background. See also, Jinong Wars and History of the Song dynasty. Before the Mongol-In War escalated, an envoy from the Song dynasty arrived at the court of the Mongols, perhaps to negotiate a united offensive against the Jin dynasty, who the Song had previously fought during the Jinong Wars. Although Genghis Khan refused, on his death in 1227 he bequeathed a plan to attack the Jin capital by passing through Song territory. Subsequently, a Mongol ambassador was killed by the Song governor in uncertain circumstances. 3. Before receiving any explanation, the Mongols marched through Song territory to enter the Jin's redoubt in Henan. In 1233 the Song dynasty finally became an ally of the Mongols, who agreed to share territories south of the Yellow River with the Song. Song General Menggong defeated the Jin general Wu Xian and directed his troops to besiege the city of Kaishu, to which the last emperor of the Jurchen had fled. With the help of the Mongols, the Song armies were finally able to extinguish the Jin dynasty that had occupied northern China for more than a century. A year later, the Song generals fielded their armies to occupy the old capitals of the Song, but they were completely repelled by the Mongol garrisons under Tachir, a descendant of Burku, who was a famed companion of Genghis Khan. Thus the Mongol troops, headed by sons of the Adai Khan, started their slow but steady invasion of the south. The Song forces resisted fiercely, which resulted in a prolonged set of campaigns. However, the primary obstacles to the prosecution of their campaigns was unfamiliar terrain that was inhospitable to their horses, new diseases, and the need to wage naval battles, a form of warfare completely alien to the masters of the steppe. This combination resulted in one of the most difficult and prolonged wars of the Mongol conquests. 4. The Chinese offered the fiercest resistance of among all the Mongols fought. The Mongols required every single advantage they could gain and every military artifice known at that time in order to win. 5. A greater amount of stubborn resistance was put up by Korea and Song China towards the Mongol invasions than the others in Eurasia, who were swiftly crushed by the Mongols at a lightning pace. 6. The Mongol force which invaded southern China was far greater than the force they sent to invade the Middle East in 1256. 7. Emperor Lezong of Song Han defectors. Many Han Chinese defected to the Mongols to fight against the Jin. 2 Han Chinese leaders, Shichens, Lu Haima, Lu Nai, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the Khitan Zhao Zala, defected and commanded the 3 Tumans in the Mongol army. 12, 13, 14, 15, Lu Haima and Shichen served Log A Khan. 16. Lu Haima and Shi Tiangxiang led armies against western Zhou for the Mongols. 17. There were 4 Han Tumans, with each Tuman consisting of 10,000 troops. The 4 Han generals Zhang Ru, Yan Shi, Shichens, and Lu Haima commanded the 4 Han Tumans under Og A Khan. 18, 19, 20, 21. Shichens was a Han Chinese who lived in the Jin dynasty 1115–234. Interethnic marriage between Han and Jurchen became common at this time. His father was Shi Bingxi. Shi Pingqi. Shi Bingxi was married to a Jurchen woman surnamed Naho and a Han Chinese woman surnamed Chang. It is unknown which of them was Shichens's mother. 22. Shichens was married to 2 Jurchen women, a Han Chinese woman, and a Korean woman, and his son Shigang was born to one of his Jurchen wives. 23. His Jurchen wives' surnames were Monin and Naho, his Korean wife's surname was Li, and his Han Chinese wife's surname was Shi. 22. Shichens defected to the Mongol Empire's forces upon their invasion of the Jin dynasty. His son Shigang married a Karait woman. The Karait were Mongolified Turkic people and considered as part of the Mongol nation. 24, 25. Shichens Shidian Si, Zhangru Changju, and Yanshi. Another high-ranking Chinese who served in the Jin dynasty and defected to the Mongols helped build the structure for the administration of the new state. 26. Chiagan Sagan and Zhang Ru jointly launched an attack on the Song dynasty ordered by Tiagin Katan. The Yuan dynasty created a Han army out of defected Jin troops and an army of defected Song troops called the newly submitted army. 27. The 1227 incident. In the early spring of 1227, Genghis Khan ordered a small fraction of the army to advance into Song's circuit of Lizhu in the name of attacking Jin and Wuzhe. The five Zhus of Ji, Feng, Cheng, He, and Tianhui were ravaged. Then the Mongols moved southward and seized Wuzhe. In July, the Mongols returned to the north. Genghis Khan further realized that to destroy the Jin dynasty the Mongol army must make its way via the Song. The 1227 incident was the first armed conflict between the Mongols and the Song. But until this time the main target of the Mongols was Jin dynasty. 28. Battles of Shaku. From the winter of 1230 to the autumn of 1231, the Mongols forcibly passed through the Song dynasty. In the region centered on the three passes of Shaku, they entered into a series of battles with the Song army. This was the second and largest armed conflict between them before the Mongol conquest of Song officially began. 29. First stage 1235-8. From 1235 on, the Mongol general Kwadun Heek started to attack the region of Sichuan through the Chengdu Plain. The occupation of this region had often been an important step for the conquest of the south. The important city of Xiangyang, the gateway to the Yangtze Plain, which was defended by the Song general Cao Yaowen, capitulated in 1236. 30. In the east, meanwhile, Song generals like Menggong and Du Guo withstood the pressure of the Mongol armies under Cao Wenhui because the main Mongol forces were at that time moving towards Europe. In Sichuan, Governor Yu Ji adopted the plan of the brothers Ranjin and Ranpu to fortify important locations in mountainous areas, like Daiyush and modern Hechuan Sichuan. From this point, Yu Ji was able to hold Sichuan for a further 10 years. In 1239, General Meng defeated the Mongols and retook Xiangyang, contesting Sichuan against the Mongols for years. 31. The only permanent gain was Chengdu for the Mongols in 1241. In the Huai River area, the Mongol Empire's commanders remained on the defensive, taking few major Song cities, although Tunagin and Ji Khan ordered their generals to attack the Song. 32. Mongol warrior on horseback, preparing a mounted archery shot. Mongol warrior on horseback, preparing a mounted archery shot. The conflicts between the Mongols and the Song troops took place in the area of Chengdu. When Tianjin sent her envoys to negotiate peace, the Song imprisoned them. 33. The Mongols captured Hangzhou and invaded Sichuan in 1242. Their commanders ordered Zhang Ru and Chagan Tsagan to attack the Song. When they pillaged Song territory, the Song court sent a delegation to negotiate a ceasefire. Chagan and Zhang Ru returned north after the Mongols accepted the terms. 34. An account of the Mongol attack on Nanjing was given in a Chinese annal, describing the Chinese defenders' use of gunpowder against the Mongols. As the Mongols had dug themselves pits under the earth where they were sheltered from missiles, we decided to bind with iron the machines called Chentian lay thunder shaking the sky and lowered them into the places. 35 Where the translation of the term for the device is that of Prof. Partington, who describes it as an iron pot filled with huo yao, literally fire drug, a low nitrate gunpowder or proto-gunpowder, sometimes lowered on chains, that sent forth fire out of every part, with an incendiary effect over many yards that could pierce metal to which it was attached, producing a noise like thunder that could be heard for miles, with the result that the men and the ox hides were all broken into fragments, chisui flying in all directions. 36, 37. Second stage 1251-0 The Mongol attacks on southern Song China intensified with the election of Mgke as Great Khan in 1251. Passing through the Chengdu Plain in Sichuan, the Mongols conquered the kingdom of Dali in modern Yunnan in 1253. Mgke's brother Kublai and General Uryenkadai pacified Yunnan and Tibet and invaded the Tr.N dynasty in Vietnam. The Mongols besieged Hokai and lifted the siege very soon in 1254. In October 1257 Mgke set out for South China and fixed his camps near the Lupan Mountains in May. He entered Sichuan in 1258 with two-thirds of the Mongol strength. In 1259 Mgk died of cholera or dysentery during the Battle of Diaoyusheng that was defended by Wang Jian. The Chinese general Jia Sedao collaborated with Kublai and took the opportunity of Mgk's death to occupy Sichuan as subject of the Mongols. The central government of the southern Song meanwhile was unable to cope with the challenge of the Mongols and new peasant uprisings in the region of modern Fujian led by Yanmeng Biao and Hunan. The court of Emperor Lezong was dominated by consort clans, Yan and Jia, and the eunuchs Dong Songkin and Lu Yansheng. In 1260 Jia Sedao became chancellor who took control over the new Emperor Zhaoqi posthumous title Song Duzong and expelled his opponents like Wen Tianxiang and Li Fu. Because the financial revenue of the late southern Song state was very low, Jia Sedao tried to reform the regulations for the merchandise of lands with the state field law. Gunpowder weapons like the Tehuoqiang were deployed by the Chinese against the Mongol forces, which fired bullets from bamboo tubes. 38. Prelude and Surrender of the Song Dynasty 1260–276. This section needs additional citations for verification. Please help improve this article by adding citations to reliable sources. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. December 2014. Learn how and when to remove this template message. See also, Yuan Dynasty Kublai Khan, the Great Khan of the Mongol Empire and Emperor of the Yuan Dynasty. Painting from 1294. Kublai Khan, the Great Khan of the Mongol Empire and Emperor of the Yuan Dynasty. Painting from 1294. After Kublai was elected Great Khan of the Mongols in 1260, he was eventually able to conquer the Song to the south, but at great cost. From 1260 to 1264, he faced civil insurrection within the Mongol side led by his younger brother, Erik Be, who had been left in command of the north and stationed at the Mongol capital, Karakoram. This led to the Talyuid Civil War and was followed by a major confrontation at the Diaoyu fortress in Sichuan in 1265. The Mongols eventually defeated the Song land and naval armies and captured more than 100 ships. 39. In 1268, the Mongol advance was halted at the city of Xiangyang, situated on the Han River, which controlled access to the Yangtze, the gateway to the important trading center of Hangzhou. 40. The walls of Xiangyang were approximately 6 to 7 meters 20 to 23 feet thick and encompassed an area 5 kilometers 3.1 miles wide. The main entrances in the wall led out to a waterway impossible to ford in the summer, and impassable as a swamp and a series of ponds and mud flats in the winter. Xiangyang was linked to its twin city, Fencheng, on the opposite riverbank, by a pontoon bridge spanning the river from where the defenders of the twin settlements attempted to break the siege. However, the Mongols under Aju thwarted every attempt and crushed all reinforcements from the Song, each detachment numbering in the thousands. 41. After this defeat, Aju asked Kublai for the powerful siege machines of the Ilkhanate. Ismail bin al-Adin, from Mosul, Iraq, arrived in South China to construct a new type of counterweight-driven trebuchet that could use explosive shells. The Mosuli engineers built the new siege trebuchets, and smaller mangonels, 42, and traction trebuchets as well. Citation needed. The design of the critical new counterweight trebuchets were taken from those used by Hulagu to batter down the walls of Baghdad in 1258. Explosive shells had been in use in China for centuries, but the counterweight system of the trebuchet as opposed to the torsion type gave greater range and accuracy while also making it easier to judge the force generated versus by the torsion from repeated windings. 43. As such, the counterweight trebuchet built by the Persians were, practically speaking, greater in range, 44, and so could assist in destroying the walls at Fancheng with greater safety to the Mongol forces. Citation needed. The Muslim and additional Chinese engineers operated the artillery and siege engines for the Mongol armies. 45. Hence, the Chinese, who were the first to invent the traction trebuchet, citation needed, now faced Persian-designed counterweight trebuchets on the side of the Mongol army, so by 1273 the Chinese were led to build their own counterweight trebuchets. As an account states, in 1273 the frontier cities had all fallen. But Muslim trebuchets were constructed with new and ingenious improvements, and different kinds became available, far better than those used before. 46. During the siege, both the Mongol and Song forces used thunder crash bombs, a type of incendiary gunpowder weapon of cast iron, filled with gunpowder. Each was delivered via trebuchet or by other means. The effects of these shells on men and natural materials was devastating, this noise destructive and resounding for many miles, while iron armor could be penetrated by the bomb's casing during the explosion. 37. The Mongols also utilized siege crossbows, and the Song used fire arrows and fire lances as well. Citation needed. Political infighting in the Song also contributed to the fall of Xiangyang and Fanqing, due to the power of the Liu family. Many questioned their allegiance to the Song, and the emperor barred Jia Sedao himself from the command. Li Taizi, an enemy of the Liu family, was appointed commander. Jia permitted the Liu to ignore Li's orders, resulting in a fractious command. Li was then unable to relieve Xiangyang and Fanqing, managing only temporary resupply during several breaks in the siege. 47. Bayan of the Baran, the Mongol commander, then sent half of his force upriver to wade to the south bank in order to build a bridge across to take the Yanglo fortress. 3,000 Song boats came up the Han River and were repulsed, with 50 boats destroyed and 2,000 dead. Citation needed. In the maritime engagements, the Song forces used paddle ships, 48, and on some ships at least, fire lance, siege crossbows, and incendiary devices were deployed against Mongol forces. 46. The Yuan dynasty under Kublai Khan after the conquest of southern Song dynasty. The Yuan dynasty under Kublai Khan after the conquest of southern Song dynasty. Xiangyang's commander then surrendered to the Mongol commander. The entire force, now including the yielding commander, sailed down the Yangtze, and the forts along the way fell, as this commander, now allied with the Mongols, had also commanded many of the downriver garrisons. Citation needed. In 1270, Kublai ordered the construction of 5,000 ships. 3 years later, an additional 2,000 ships were ordered built. These would carry about 50,000 troops to give battle to the Song. In 1273, Fancheng capitulated, the Mongols putting the entire population to the sword to terrorize the inhabitants of Xiangyang. After the surrender of the city of Xiangyang, several thousand ships were deployed. The Song fleet, despite their deployment as a coastal defense fleet or coast guard more than an operational navy, was more than a match for the Mongols. Under his great general Bayan, Kublai unleashed a riverine attack upon the defended city of Xiangyang on the Han River. The Mongols prevailed, ultimately, but it would take 5 more years of hard combat to do so. 49. Kublai had founded the Yuan dynasty in 1271, and by 1273, the Mongols had emerged victorious on the Han River. Citation needed. The Yangtze River was open for a large fleet that could conquer the southern Song Empire. A year later, the child prince Zhaoxian was made emperor. Resistance continued, resulting in Bayan's massacre of the inhabitants of Changzhou in 1275 and mass suicide of the defenders at Changsha in January 1276. When the Yuan Mongol Chinese troops and fleet advanced and one prefecture after the other submitted to the Yuan, Jia Sedao offered his own submission, but the Yuan Chancellor Bayan refused. The last contingents of the Song Empire were heavily defeated, the old city of Jiangkang Jiangsu fell, and Jia Sedao was killed. The capital of Song, Linan Hangzhou, was defended by Wen Tianxiang and Zhang Shiji. When Bayan and Dong Wenbing camped outside Linan in February 1276, the Song Grand Empress Dowager Zi and Empress Dowager Quan surrendered the underage Emperor Guang of Song along with the imperial seal. Emperor Guang abdicated, but faithful loyalists like Zhang Zhu, Wen Tianxiang, Zhang Shiji and Lu Zufu successively enthroned the emperor's younger brothers Zhao Shi and Zhao Bing. Zhao Shi was enthroned as Emperor Duanzong of Song far from the capital in the region of Fuzhou, but he died soon afterwards on the flight southwards into modern Guangdong. Zhao Bing was enthroned as Emperor Huizong of Song on Lantau Island, Hong Kong. On March 19, 1279, the Mongols defeated the last of the Song forces at the naval battle of Yemen. After the battle, as a last defiant act against the invaders, Lu Zufu embraced the 8-year-old emperor and the pair leapt to their deaths from Mount Ya, thus marking the extinction of the Southern Song. Last stand of the Song Loyalists 1276-9 Main article, Battle of Yemen. Emperor Bing, the last Song Emperor claimant. Emperor Bing, the last Song Emperor claimant. Empress Dowager Z had secretly sent the child emperor's two younger brothers to Fuzhou. The strongholds of the Song Loyalists fell one by one, Yangzhou in 1276, Chongqing in 1277 and Hezhou in 1279. The Loyalists fought the Mongols in the mountainous Fujian Guangdong-Yangtze borderland. In February 1279, Wen Tianxiang, one of the Song Loyalists, was captured and executed at the Yuan capital Kunbayalik Dadu, modern Beijing. The end of the Mongol Song War occurred on March 19, 1279, when 1,000 Song warships faced a fleet of 300 to 700 Yuan Mongol warships at Yemen. The Yuan fleet was commanded by Zhang Hongfan 1238-280, a northern Chinese, and Li Hang 1236-285, a Tangut. Catapults as a weapon system were rejected by Kublai's court, for they feared the Song fleet would break out if they used such weapons. Instead, they developed a plan for a maritime siege, in order to starve the Song into submission. But at the outset, there was a defect in the Song tactics that would later be exploited by Yuan at the conclusion of the battle. The Song wanted a stronger defensive position, and the Song fleet roped itself together in a solid mass, in an attempt to create a nautical skirmish line. Results were disastrous for the Song, they could neither attack nor maneuver. Escape was also impossible, for the Song warships lacked any nearby base. On 12 March, a number of Song combatants defected to the Mongol side. On 13 March, a Song squadron attacked some of the Mongols' northern patrol boats. If this action was an attempted breakout, it failed. By 17 March, Li Heng and Zhang Hongfan opted for a decisive battle. 4 Mongol fleets moved against the Song. Li Heng attacked from the north and northwest. Zhang would proceed from the southwest. The last two fleets attacked from the south and west. Weather favored the Mongols that morning. Heavy fog and rain obscured the approach of Li Heng's dawn attack. The movement of the tide in the southwestern similarly benefited the movement of the Mongol fleet which, in short order, appeared to the north of the Song. It was an unusual attack in that the Mongol fleet engaged the Song fleet stern first. Prior to the battle, the Mongols constructed archery platforms for their marines. The position enabled the archers to direct a higher, more concentrated rate of missile fire against the enemy. Fire teams of 7 or 8 archers manned these platforms, and they proved devastatingly effective as the battle commenced at close quarter. Li Heng's first attack cut the Song rope that held the Chinese fleet together. Fighting raged in close quarters combat. Before midday, the Song lost 3 of their ships to the Mongols. By forenoon, Li's ships broke through the Song's outer line, and 2 other Mongol squadrons destroyed the Song formation in the northwest corner. Around this time, the tide shifted. Li's ships drifted to the opposite direction, the north. The Mongol dominions, c. 1300. The gray area is the later Timurid Empire. The Mongol dominions, c. 1300. The gray area is the later Timurid Empire. The Song believed that the Mongols were halting the attack and dropped the guard. Zhang Hongfan's fleet, riding the northern current, then attacked the Song ships. Zhang was determined to capture the Song admiral, Zuo Tai. The Yuan flagship was protected by shields to negate the Song missile fire. Later, when Zhang captured the Song flagship, his own vessel was riddled with arrows. Li Heng's fleet also returned to the battle. By late afternoon, the battle was over, and the last of the Song navy surrendered. The ruling elite were unwilling to submit to Yuan rule, and opted for death by suicide. The Song counselor, who had been tasked with holding the infant child emperor of the Song in his arms during the battle, also elected to join the Song leaders in death. It is uncertain whether he or others decided that the infant emperor should die as well. The counselor therefore jumped into the sea, still holding the child in his arms. Tens of thousands of Song officials and women threw themselves into the sea and drowned. The last Song emperor died with his entourage, held in the arms of his counselor. With his death, the final remnants of the Song resistance were eliminated. The victory of this naval campaign marked the completion of Kublai's conquest of China, and the onset of the consolidated Mongol Yuan dynasty. Members of the Song imperial family continued to live in the Yuan dynasty like Emperor Guang of Song, Zhao Mengfu, and Zhao Yong. Zhao Mengfu painted at the Yuan court and was personally interviewed by Kublai Khan. This practice was referred to as. In the process of the Mongols' invasion of China proper, many Han Chinese were enslaved by the Mongols. According to Japanese historian Sugiyama Masaaki and Funada Yoshiyuki, there were also a certain number of Mongolian slaves owned by Han Chinese during the Yuan dynasty. Moreover, there is no evidence that Han Chinese, who were considered people of the bottom of Yuan society by some research, were suffered a particularly cruel abuse. 50, 51, 52. Chinese resistance in Vietnam against the Mongols. The Chinese region of Fujian was the original home of the Chinese Tran Chen clan before they migrated under Tr. Enkin. Ch Jing to Dai Viet, whose descendants established the Tr. En dynasty which ruled Vietnam IV. T. And certain members of the clan could still speak Chinese, such as when a Yuan dynasty envoy had a meeting with the Chinese-speaking Tr. and Prince Tr. Enku. C2. And later King Tr. En Hung O, in 1282. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. Professor Liam Kelly noted that people from Song dynasty China like Zhao Zhong and Zhu Zongdao fled to Tran dynasty ruled Vietnam after the Mongol invasion of the Song, and they helped the Tran fight against the Mongol invasion. The Tran dynasty originated from the Fujian region of China, as did the Taoist cleric Zhu Zongdao, who recorded the Mongol invasion and referred to them as northern bandits. 59, 60. The Tran defeated the Mongol invasions of Vietnam.